All right, good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the Ankerstar Wealth Morning Show. We are both back at home after our travels and journeys. If you've been following along on Facebook, we got to go to some different locations, do some cool stuff. Summer is a little bit like that. Summer lets out, so we got people taking their well-deserved travel time and time off to be able to spend time with their families. Hopefully, you all are out there doing the same. Real quick on my end, I went out to Vegas. My youngest had her last club volleyball tournament, finished 29th in the nation. So pretty pleased with that. She also had a UNLV camp where she got to play with all the girls that she's going to play with, a year from now when she's out there. And then many of you know I played in the World Series of Poker for the second time. And unfortunately, I was out almost immediately. It seemed like it was 4 hours, but still it was pretty quick exit on my behalf. Ran into a couple of bad hands. I've been replaying those obviously about 24/7 in my mind on how I could have gotten away from those without busting out. But that's for me to worry about. But yeah, I had aces, got kind of crippled against a set of fives that I ran into, and then had kings versus ace queen, and that's what knocked me out eventually, is that he got an ace on the flop. We were all in there pre-flop. So anyhow, so hit the rail pretty quick, but another great experience, and hope to continue to play that going forward. A little bit expensive of a journey, but yeah, I'm not giving up after this experience. If anything, I'm more emboldened than ever for next year. So, but let's get back to the business side of things. Mike was up in New York City. He got to see some cool stuff. So thanks for sharing those pictures, Mike. But back to the business part of things. The building is coming along quickly, so I'll give a building update here shortly. And then Mike's going to talk about the numbers that matter the most these days, and that's the inflation numbers. So we got a new print this morning. Mike will talk about what that means for the markets and overall and the Fed going forward. And then lastly, kind of a fun topic. I'm an Apple iSheep and that I have to buy all their latest products and stuff. But there's actually an interesting angle that Mike's going to bring up and talk to. But I believe in all their products. I'm looking forward to the new iPhone 16 or the iPhone AI if they're listening to this podcast, which they probably aren't. But anyhow, we'll see what's coming up for Apple. But Mike's got some interesting updates there as well. But before we get started, this financial education presentation, you have to do your own due diligence before acting on anything you hear in this presentation. More information is available at ankerstarwealth.com, and the opinions expressed are Mike and mine alone. So if you remember this building we've been talking about, a little bit, I guess, right? So here's the floor plan. We've been working through a lot of the design stuff. And, this is the latest, where you want motion, in purple, there's the camera layout and motion sensors and badge access to different rooms and things. All of that is, pretty interesting to be able to work on. And, we're 18 months into this. And of course, we've been talking about the October 2024 timeframe. Well, take a look at the latest. We had a slab party not too long ago. But this is what it looks like right now. So yeah, it's moving along quickly. So the latest update from the builder was maybe even mid-September. And I'm like, okay, no big deal, until I kind of look at the calendar and do let's see, we're in July now, and then there's August and then September. Holy crap, it's 8 weeks, right? So again, this is flying right along. We are getting the priority as the first investor into that property. So the other buildings, there's 6 or 7 other buildings in there that aren't as far along. But yeah, they're taking care of us. Things are going fast. We've got, I would say, 85 to 90% solution on the furniture of getting it all not only chosen, but actually made, and make it where it's physically delivered right around the closing time. And of course, 60 days out is now I get to talk to the bank starting on Monday to get the loans, not only to buy the building outright. We've already kind of put our down payment down, so we're not really worried about that, but a loan for the rest, as well as sourcing out some operating capital for figuring out the equipment and furniture and paying for all that. So a lot of interesting learning going on my, from my perspective. Then of course all the details, right, that we're thinking about and going final on. But that's how the building will look. There's supposed to be a tree that's going in the front yard that'll be in front of that. Of course, the extra roof. I used to know what those were called. I'm blanking on it. Anyhow, those roof trusses, those roof trusses, those will be gone. And of course, they're going to paint the parking lot when they're all done. So it'll look kind of gorgeous up front there. But that's the front of the building. Considers 4 entries and exits. Again, the middle we'll have one kind of primary entrance and exit for Ankerstar Wealth, and the other 2 are still hopefully an estate firm and a CPA firm, which I have not come across yet. State folks are pretty easy to talk to. CPAs are really, really hard to find. So I'm learning a lot during that process as well. So anyhow, just wanted to give you a quick update with that. So with that, Mike, I'm going to turn over to you. Let's talk about that inflation number.
Yeah, well, first I just want to say, when I was in New York City, went on a tour of the financial district, and we visited Alexander Hamilton's grave, and they said it's lucky if you put some money on his grave. Now I saw lots of pennies and quarters, and I didn't want to show off in front of the rest of the tour, but I let them go forward, and I threw a $1 bill on there. Not a $10
I was waiting
bill.
for you to put a Bitcoin on there, and I was trying to figure out how you physically did that, right?
but I threw a $1 on there, so hopefully we have good luck. They said it definitely works. It brings good luck to you. So and since I care about our investments, that's where we want it. And
yes, more financial advice from Mike Huntman. I like it.
We'll see. So I love this headline. It was on CNN. Prices fell in June for the first time since the start of the pandemic. So we did have that pandemic. It seems like a long time ago, but they fell. So we actually had prices dropped 0.1%, on a monthly basis. So run out there and get things on sale, right. I guess. I don't know, 0.1%. But anyways, it did bring the annual rate of inflation down to 3%. And last month it was 3.3. So getting closer to the Fed's target. And of course, and I'm going to click over and see the market's reaction because they just opened about a minute ago. Haven't looked yet, but they were trending up just because when inflation goes down and the economy slows, hopefully just slightly, the Fed can start to reduce its discount rate. So the market will, react like, hopefully, that candy. We want that candy sugar rush of a lower interest rate, and we'll see where that goes. As far as what caused the drop, falling gas prices, drop in new and used car prices. So, good news. It's that I don't even know what the market's done yet, but guess what? Inflation going down is good news no matter what. So we'll take a quick look. Here's what the markets are doing. Let me refresh. And, slightly green. No major action right now. So slightly green. The S&P's trading at all-time records. While we were both off, the market continued higher, believe it or not. So that's good news. So the other thing I want to bring up, since Apple is our largest holding, I saw this article and I just kind of had to laugh a little bit. We'll call it marketing. This isn't going to cause the stock to move in a significant way, but too young for an iPhone. Apple says its watch is a great call for kids in the new promotion. Now, my kids are a little bit older, so we're just buying iPhones now. No one's asked for a watch, but I was like, what? Too young for an iPhone? So what are we talking? Like 10 years old, 8 years old? I don't know what the right age is for an iPhone, but it's certainly in the early teens. But this is the latest marketing, and as I read it, it's obviously marketed to parents because they have the money, right? Kids don't, but it's like they give you peace of mind. So when your kids are out and about, if you've given up putting an air tag on your kid, I don't know if you can do that, but you can get them a watch and you can track their location, you can text, you can call. And then I also thought, well, why not just get them a phone? Well, what's happening is the schools, certain parts of the country are starting to limit smartphones in schools, which is probably a good thing for schools. Because as a person that's tutored kids in the past, I know that a phone can be very, very distracting. It's hard when that thing goes ding, get your dopamine rush, time to pick up and look at my text. So schools are starting to finally figure this out. But anyways, we'll see if this goes anywhere. It's a new marketing idea. And then what I also thought was interesting, since we're talking about young kids getting watches, this past Saturday, I took my dad in to get an iPhone on my account. And, someone that's 85 years old, he did not like his previous smartphone. It was not an Apple. It was, I don't even know what it was. But, I took him in, made sure his number transferred. And it was interesting to hear the questions he asked. Because, he was like, I just want to be able to call and text. I don't need anything else. And I'm thinking, an iPhone is like way overpowered for just calling and texting. I mean, and when you get that initial phone, it has all those icons, and he's just like, just show me how to call and text and transfer my contacts over. So I thought that those were great questions. And I sat there as the AT&T salesperson set him up, and then he had the great question of, where's the manual? Where's the manual on how to use this thing? And I was like, oh, just like shaking my head. I was like, I don't think there's a paper manual for this. And he's like, there really should be. But since I was going out of town and he was staying with my kids, he's like, well, the kids can show me how to use it. So he had 4 days of intensive iPhone training. But anyways, I thought to myself, and I actually have a coworker that works at Apple in hardware. And I said, if they came out with an iPhone, not AI, but sorry, but an iPhone for I don't want to say iPhone for seniors, iPhone for whatever, with just a few icons. They don't even need to put the latest A257 chip in there, and just could get people set up. I guarantee they would be hot sellers. Huge. They don't have to make the latest model. And I just thought, why don't they do that? But anyways, we'll see. I think that would be a great market to get into. People that just they don't want the complexity. And, and walking around the store, I looked at some of the other phones that were out there just to see, and nothing really impressed me. iPhones are where it's at. So I'm glad that's our number one holding, and it's done excellent this last month or two. So with that, that's my report on Apple. Steve, I'll let you know if Tim calls and, asks us for any ideas.
But I know he's watching. He's a regular viewer of our handful of viewers. So that's for sure. Yeah. Mike mentioned AirTags. I do have an AirTag on my wallet and my suitcase, and I've traveled a little bit lately, right? And have used my one for my suitcase twice. So I thought that was kind of interesting. And then my parents always say the same thing with stuff, my dad's into drones, right? So it's just like, where's the manual? And everybody's like, so we went to this one drone and found a, 500-page manual online, and he wanted to print it out. And I finally talked him out of that. And then another thing the seniors think of is keeping boxes, right? It's like you always keep the box, right? It's like, well, you're going to have a lot of boxes sticking around if that's the case. But yeah, I think if I remember right, I Googled it real quick and it doesn't confirm what I thought, but the iPhone SE, I think, was a streamlined version. Apple's tried to do the basic version of the phone sometime in their past, and it didn't. It wasn't as good as they thought, right? So anyhow, I think that's why they just now pack it all into. Who knows what the iPhone 16 will cost? I imagine it's probably going to be $1,500 baseline or something, but kind of crazy. But certainly, yeah, when you look at Apple stock, and that's our number one holding, it's bouncing off all-time highs. It's fractionally down today, but it's almost $130 a share. So quite crazy how Apple just continues to produce and produce. So
230.
What did I say? 230?
You said 130, and I thought everybody was going to panic.
Nope. Thank you for the correction there. So yeah, always good things happening in Apple world. So with that, we're thrilled to be back, on the home front. So lots of things to catch up with, and we will catch you guys back tomorrow. Have a good one. Bye.